Hey guys, Aaron CybertronZang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online regulation VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be featuring a really fun team that recently won an online grassroots tournament featuring Choice Band Gliscor. Gliscor is in a unique place in the format because it's got decent speed, outpacing a lot of common Pokemon in the format. With Choice Band, you can do massive amounts of damage with attacks like Earthquake as well as Dual Wingbeat, and the team has Pokemon like Vivillon as well as Flying Tera, Assurance, Kingambit to support the Gliscor. Gliscor is a Pokemon that people started thinking about because it has a decent matchup and can resist the Sneasler, which is one of the most common Pokemon in the format. But this is going to be the more offensive set with Choice Band. We also see Toxic Orb Swords Dance being used, and so it's really cool to see this Pokemon have a niche in the metagame. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down below, and thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, I'd really appreciate it if you consider leaving a like on the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton.
Before we get started, today's video is sponsored by a brand new game that I'm really excited about, Dimensionals, a turn-based roguelike RPG. Dimensionals is set in an epic sci-fi world with the vibe of a classic Saturday morning cartoon. With a party of 3 heroes, you'll be able to build crazy team combos as you take on various enemies within the game. As you advance through the story, you'll encounter all kinds of different enemies and environments, and as you beat them, you'll unlock hundreds of new skills to make your party even stronger. You'll also meet helpful characters along the way, set in an epic world, told in the style of beautifully animated, voice-acted comic book cutscenes. Battle across the rift in Dimensionals and train your party up against all kinds of unique challenges, as you get ready to take on the game's hardest challenges, its massive bosses. Use all the skills and knowledge you've accumulated throughout the game to fight and defeat these bosses. There's so much that excites me about Dimensionals, from the genre of a roguelike to the video effects, art, and comic book style animation. Everything I've seen looks incredible. Dimensionals comes out on November 18th on Steam, and you can wishlist it right now using the link in the description below. I really think that this game has the potential to be something special, so a huge thank you once again to Dimensionals for supporting today's video.
If you're interested in trying out the team, the rental is on the screen and there's also an accompanying Pokepaste down below. This team utilizes Choice Band Gliscor to catch your opponents off guard and deal massive amounts of damage. It synergizes really nicely with Vivillon, which can help set up speed control with Tailwind and also put your opponents to sleep. You've also got Flying Tera, Kingambit, so you can Tera next to your Gliscor, become immune to Earthquake, and then also go for Assurance after you've gotten damage with the Earthquake. To round out the team, you've got Covert Cloak, Alolan Ninetales with the Aurora Veil, which synergizes really nicely as it's able to set up the snow for Ice Tera Gliscor. You've got Rocky Helmet, Incineroar, and you've got Stalwart, Power Herb, Archaladon. Overall, the team is really fun to utilize, and Gliscor is definitely one of the stars of it, so I'm really excited to show off what this Pokemon can do. For some quick context, this team won an event called the Tommy's Tuesday Practice Tour, which is a weekly tournament series held on Limitless. Chef Rich participated and won the entire thing with 9 wins and 1 loss in the entire tournament. There were 90 players who participated in the end, and these tournaments are great to just get some practice against other players and try out new teams and compositions. The team obviously stands out because of Gliscor, but it's also got fun things like the Vivillon as well as Flying Tera Gambit. Breaking down the team, the first Pokemon I want to highlight is Gliscor. By the way, question of the day, with us using Gliscor, I want to know how you would buff this Pokemon down in the comment section below. Gliscor started receiving some attention because so many people were talking about Sneasler and how difficult it was to deal with, and so I first saw Gliscor being used with Toxic Orb and Poison Heal with Swords Dance. That set ideally can be immune to Sneasler's status conditions and can KO it with Dual Wingbeat while also setting up. This set is a more immediate set with offense with Choice Band and Hyper Cutter. Hyper Cutter is an awesome ability on the Gliscor here because it just prevents your attack stat from being decreased, so you don't have to worry about Intimidate from Incineroar, for example. Choice Band allows you to burst with damage immediately, and the Gliscor here is really well supported because you've got Vivillon for Tailwind, and of course, it's immune to the Earthquake. You also have the Flying Tera Kingambit, so you can just go Earthquake, Flying Tera, Assurance, and try to pick up some knockouts. Dual Wingbeat is one of the other go-to moves, which is really valuable into the Focus Sash users that you can knock out like Sneasler. Also really good into Pokemon like Rillaboom as well as Amoonguss in this format, and can just do a lot of damage consistently. U-Turn allows you to pivot out of tough situations, allowing you to, for example, break Dragonite's multi-scale and just use it early on in the game when you want to try to bait out a Tera from your opponent, which often you'll be able to do because you have so much pressure with Gliscor and Vivillon. And then finally, you've got Ice Tera Blast. Ice is a cool Tera for a bunch of reasons. It actually helps defensively with Gliscor here, where you become resistant to Ice-type attacks from the opponent, and it also gives you the defense buff from Snow with Alolan Ninetales. Ice Tera Blast also allows you to snipe things like Garchomp and Dragonite and just catch them off guard. So overall, this Gliscor can do a lot of super effective damage to very common Pokemon in the format. You think about the steel types that exist like Goldengo, which you outspeed, as well as King Gambit or Chaladon, Rillaboom with Dual Wingbeat, for example. A lot of different things that can just get knocked out by this. Vivillon is a great partner, as I mentioned, and this is the classic set that you're normally going to see on it. Ghost Tera helps you get around Fake Out as well as Extreme Speed, and you've got Hurricane, Tailwind, Sleep Powder, and Protect. The Tailwind is really nice because on this team you have a lot of Pokemon in like the base 80 to 100 speed range, and so you're going to be threatened by Pokemon that are faster than that, and there are a good number of Pokemon that are going to be faster than you. So in those matchups, you are going to really want to set up the Tailwind so that you can make sure you move before your opponent gets the chance to attack. With Gliscor in particular, it's really awesome if you can pick up a knockout onto things before they move, and Tailwind can further help with that. I think also what's fun about this is the Sleep Powder here often baits your opponent to go for Grass Terras, and so if you go for Grass Terra to try to get around Sleep Powder, then you of course can deal super effective damage with the Dual Wingbeat as well as the Hurricane here. Some other things to talk about, you've got the Ice Tera on the Gliscor, so Ninetales is going to be really valuable to set up the snow for it. This is a bulky set with Covert Cloak as well as the Aurora Veil, which is really nice, and the general idea is that you can do damage with Blizzard and Freeze Dry, but also increase your bulk with the team. King Gambit here is an Assault Vest set, and it actually got a little bit of speed investment here, which is really nice to go up against other base 50 Pokemon like opposing King Gambit. And once again, Gambit with the Assault Vest and Flying Tera is so nice because it synergizes with Gliscor. People still end up bringing Incineroar into this composition, I find, because first of all, they don't expect Hyper Cutter on it if you're playing in the best in one environment. And so King Gambit, if it gets that Defiant boost, can just be such a menace. Finally, you've got Rocky Helmet, Fairy Tera, Incineroar, as well as the Stalwart Archaladon. Incin here is using Rocky Helmet, which is nice because you can use it to switch into things and get some chip damage onto your opponent. Gliscor, for example, as well as Vivillon, really threatened by Population Bomb Mousehold, so having Rocky Helmet to have a way to switch into attacks like that, for example, is really valuable. And then the Fairy Tera here is just a different defensive Tera that you can utilize, specifically valuable into Dragon-type attacks, especially something like Scale Shot from opposing Dragonites, which otherwise also can threaten Gliscor and Vivillon. The Archaladon here is Stalwart, and Stalwart's really nice because there's so much redirection in the format right now. Magmar, Electabuzz, Amoonguss, Clefable, for example. So with Stalwart, you can ignore that redirection, and for example, if you lead Gliscor, Archaladon, Ninetales, Archaladon, you can actually Earthquake, although be careful because obviously you're going to deal super effective damage. You might want to Ghost Tera to get around obviously just doing a ton to yourself, or you can go Ninetales Archaladon and just go, spread move plus the Power Herb Electro Shot and ignore redirection and potentially knock out something as its partner is going for Follow Me. So that's one of the cool things. Thunderbolt gives you some good coverage after you use Electro Shot, and Dragon Pulse just does a lot of damage. It kind of feels like a mini Raging Bolt, basically. In terms of ways to play with the team, I really like leading Gliscor. So Gliscor Vivillon, Gliscor King Gambit, Gliscor Ninetales, I think are all really powerful. Vivillon Archaladon allows for you to have just a lot of offense immediately from the special spectrum. Incineroar Vivillon allows you to threaten with Fake Out into, for example, Tailwind immediately, and then you can Parting Shot, go out into Gliscor Archaladon, put things to sleep, and then go from there. So those are some of the main modes that I've considered, but I often think about just leading Gliscor to put on a lot of offensive pressure immediately. In terms of things to watch out for, first of all, Gliscor's base attack is not the highest, so if you have ways to decrease its damage output, like burning it or setting up Reflect, it can feel kind of sad. It's also a choice band set, so obviously once you lock into a move, you have to commit to it, and your opponent can take advantage of that if they just protect in front of you. Defensive Terras can be really valuable. If you have a good defensive Terra and just threatening Gliscor with a knockout in return while not taking very much damage, that can be really scary. Gliscor is vulnerable to Fake Out in particular because you don't have Protect, and so, for example, Gliscor Vivillon, if you lead it, something like Insane Golden Gold lead where you Fake Out Gliscor and just make it rain Steel Terra can be really scary. I think a lot of games I've lost, it's just Gliscor getting popped immediately on turn 1 without being able to accomplish very much, and that often happens if my opponent has a Fake Out user or they have Tailwind, for example, from a priority Pokemon, get that Tailwind up, and then Gliscor just gets knocked out. So this Pokemon can get popped, so you have to be very, very careful. Other things to call out, the King Gambit here doesn't have Protect, of course, and so it's going to be more vulnerable to just consistently getting targeted down. Ninetales is going to be weak to Steel-type attacks in particular, and you don't do a ton of damage here, and so if you're bringing it, you really want to get value out of Aurora Veil, and ideally your opponent will have a couple of Pokemon that are weak to Ice-type attacks, for example, and so obviously with Aurora Veil, you're going to be weak against opposing weather, so Sun, Rain, Sand obviously can be a little bit tricky. Archaladon here is Stalwart, you have no bulk at all, and you have no Sturdy, so it can go very quickly down to, for example, a Choice Spec special attacker, so you have to be careful about that as well. In general, like compositions that I've lost against include Hyper Offense Tailwind as well as Trick Room with Porygon Ursaluna. Porygon I find is just a really tricky Pokemon to deal with because you can't knock it out even with the double up, and so it can just stay on the field for a long time, soak up pressure, heal back up, set up Trick Room, and then Ursaluna can one-shot a lot of this team under Trick Room, which can be scary. And then, for example, Whimsicott Hyper Offense, where they set up Tailwind and then just have things that can use really powerful spread moves early on, is something else that I've lost against as well. So just a couple things to note. We've got Whimsicott, Dragonite, Garchomp, Alolan Ninetales, Indeedee Male, and Milotic here. So, they've got Tailwind. We can also Tailwind. Gliscor with the Ice Tera I think is really intriguing here. I could bring Alolan Ninetales to give it Aurora Veil as well. Thinking Ninetales plus Gliscor lead. I think Vivian is also not bad. But with Vivian, I have to worry about Scale Shot. I do like the idea of trying to set up Tailwind with this early. So I think I can go Gliscor, Vivian, Ninetales, and then... it's interesting, like, Archaludon here isn't actually threatened by too much damage. King Gambit is really good as a switch it into Indeedee. And we're Flying Tera, so I think Gambit's not bad here. But yeah, like, the idea behind this is I pressure with Gliscor immediately. I can Dual Wingbeat into Whimsicott, Dual Wingbeat into Indeedee. I can pressure Tailwind immediately. If they lead King Gambit, for example... Sorry, if they lead Indeedee, I can switch in King Gambit, which is neat. So, let's see what they opt for. And I think with the Dragons, there's no way they're going to see Ice Tera, Tera Blast coming their way. It's going to be Indeedee plus the Milotic. Okay. I think with this, I'm happy to just go Dual Wingbeat onto Indeedee. Sleep Powder turn 1. Yeah, that works for me. Sleep Powder into you. Dual Wingbeat into you. Nice. We move first, and that's going to be a knockout. Goodbye, Indeedee. Perfect. So Indeedee faints. Let's see if we connect the Sleep Powder. Nice. Vivian connects, and that's basically the perfect turn 1. Milotic here is pretty annoying for these two to deal with. We've got Alolan Ninetales with that Freeze Dry, which is obviously going to be helpful into it. But yeah, Gliscor is awesome for many reasons, but having access to Dual Wingbeat and be able to knock out things like Indeedee through Focus Sash, Whimsicott, Sneasler is really valuable. So they're going to bring out Alolan Ninetales. Okay, with this, I can probably angle to Ice Tera this now. Ice Tera, I could Sleep Powder or Tailwind. I don't mind going for Tailwind here. Ice Tera. Dual Wingbeat into Milo. With Ice Tera now, I am in a good spot defensively. I'll get Tailwind up so I can pressure with Sleep Powder in subsequent turns. I could have just gone for Sleep Powder this turn, but I think I'd rather ensure that I'm outspeeding my opponent. So Ice Tera Gliscor just looks so cool. Oh, and they protect. Doesn't get any better than that for us. Nice. So Dual Wingbeat connects onto the Milotic. That's a lot of damage. Wow. Let's see if there's a Citrus Berry. Yep, there is. Did around 60%, so I would expect to not get the knockout with another Dual Wingbeat. Like, expect him to survive with the Sliver based on that. But now I can double up onto Milotic next turn. Vivian sets up Tailwind as well. I can angle to double up into either spot right now. And Milotic stays asleep, which is awesome. Cool. So I can Dual Wingbeat and Hurricane. I'm leaning towards actually doubling up onto Ninetales, but honestly, Ninetales isn't a big threat with what I have in the back. So, let's go for the KO onto Milotic. Oh, man. I was not expecting Vivian and Gliscor to just dominate the way it did there, but we'll absolutely take it. Yeah, it makes sense because, yeah, like, my opponent just wasn't able to get anything going on turn 1, and I got so much damage across the board. And with the Tailwind setup, it's like Hurricane plus Dual Wingbeat. Flying Pressure is just so strong, and my opponent just doesn't have Pokemon I can take here. I can essentially double up into a slot and get a knockout every turn. And then we still King Gambit and Alolan Ninetales in the back. So, yeah, I think part of what I love about this Gliscor is that it just does so much more damage than your opponents often will expect. And you can see with that Choice Band, we're able to just get that one shot onto NDD in the beginning of the game, which was really, really nice. And so, fortunately, didn't miss any of our attacks. That can always be a little bit stressful when using this composition. And we were able to, yeah, really just dominate. Ooh, we've got Sand here. Tyranitar, Lycanroc, and Excadrill. Normally you'll see one of Lycanroc or Excadrill, but we've got both here, which is cool. Incin, Goldengo, Clefable. I mean, my first impression is Gliscor with Earthquake here looks really nuts. Flying Tera, Gambit can low kick. I think Gliscor and Gambit are definitely coming out into this one. I think Incin should come out as well. Our Childon is Stalwart, but we'd mainly be Electro-Shotting. I don't have Body Press or Aura Sphere, so I don't know if I love that. So I think it's probably Ninetales for Weather Control. Something like Gliscor, Incin lead, King Gambit, Ninetales in the back seems good here. Don't want to be leading Ninetales. We want to have it as a switch in. And I think I could probably lead King Gambit over Incin, but I like the idea of just being able to thread in with Intimidate right away. I think one of the biggest things to pay attention to in this battle is baiting out a defensive Tera from my opponent, like a Flying Tera, because Tyranitar often is going to be Flying Tera. It makes sense to have Flying Tera, especially when you've got Excadrill on your team, because you can then just become immune to Earthquake. It's going to be Clefable, Goldengo. Okay. What do I want to do here? Probably forces a Goldengo Tera. I wonder if Goldengo is Flying Tera, honestly. I could see them going for Follow Me turn 1. Their best play would be like Follow Me Defensive Tera here. Earthquake is tempting, but right now, without King Gambit on the field, I actually can't Earthquake very effectively. So I think I'm going to go for turn 1 U-turn in a Goldengo and knock off into it. Okay, Clef switches into their own Incineroar. That's fine by me. We've got Hyper Cutter here. Let's see if they Tera as well. Okay, Goldengo protects. That makes sense. So we confirm that you're not like a choiced variant. So it's a pretty play by them. Now you pressure Fake out this next turn. It's probably the Nasty Plot variant then. I would guess that you... Like, I think they might be tempted to Fake out Incin here, honestly. Pretty free switch into King Gambit for us. Definitely not Terroring this. I think it's interesting to actually just go for the hard switch into King Gambit. And then knock off into Goldengo. I think a lot about this game will be trying to get Gliscor and just Earthquake with it. So we want a Flying Tera King Gambit to potentially get that EQ off. Okay, they do Fake out into Gliscor. Cool. And just make it rain. Okay, perfect. Not a ton of damage there. Yep, you're life formed. Okay, great. And now I get knockoff in Goldengo. Cool. So now you would think Goldengo would consider switching out. It's definitely a prime time to Flying Tera here. I think I want to go for Flying Tera, low kick into Incin, and Parting Shot into it. And the idea is once I get this Flying Tera off with King Gambit, yep, Goldengo switches out, I'll be able to have the Gliscor to Earthquake next to it. Clef switches back in, cool. I thought about Iron Heading that slot, but I think it's better to pressure Incin right now and get damage onto it, so it just feints to an Earthquake. Still don't know the Tera on Goldengo. I'm not so sure it's Flying Tera anymore. Because I think if they were... Well, I think the way they played it still makes sense to not commit your Tera so early on, but yeah. We're going to Tera with Gambit. Get the faster Parting Shot off, which is huge. Very nice. This grants me the free switch in now into Gliscor. Okay. The Hoenn Champ has entered the field. Cool, and they just Flare Blitz us. Perfect. Yeah, we took 54 damage there, so not a ton. And now Kingambit gets low kick. Beautiful. So now I don't really have to care about your follow me pressure. Their best play probably is to just protect Clefable, sacrifice Incin. I could switch into Ninetales, but I think here I'm content to just Iron Head into Clefable and Earthquake. Oh! They don't switch, they don't protect, they don't Tera. This is probably just a double KO this turn then, right? Knock out Incin. Maybe Clefable's bulky enough to survive Iron Head. Let's see. Oh, they're just going to T-Wave us. Okay, well, we're really slow anyway, so that's not a major problem. Nice. No paralysis. Iron Head comes out, and that's a double KO. Sweet. We know it's Life Orb Golden Goal in the back, and it's already heavily damaged. There's no Life Orb on anymore, so Gliscor just looks so good on this matchup, right? Like, they didn't have any ground resistance or immunity. And it's T-Tar as the last one. Beautiful. So, if it's T-Tar as the last one, I think Flying Tera T-Tar here probably makes the most sense. Flying Tera. We have Ninetales plus Incin in the back. Paralysis here is spooky. You could just make it rain. I think personally here, I would like to go for Assurance into Golden Go, and then just hard switch into Incin. The logic here is this gives me Intimidate. I don't want to Sucker Punch into a nasty plot from Golden Go. If Golden Go protects, it's fine. Even if Tyranitar Rock Slides, like, yes, that's annoying, but I'm getting the Intimidate off, and that's really crucial. Okay. I think it has to be Flying Tera T-Tar this turn, but let's see. And if you Flying Tera, then Alolan Ninetales now can Blizzard you. Yep. Bingo. So at this point with Gliscor, you probably want to commit to clicking Dual Wingbeat instead. Okay, Golden Go goes for the Protect. That's fine. Not much I could have really done around that, and they do correctly go for Rock Slide. So good turn by them. Incin dodges it, which is quite lucky. 103 down to 31. I think with this, now I can go Sucker Punch plus Flare Blitz into Golden Go, because Incin is faster than T-Tar, as we see by sand damage. So, Sucker Punch just KOs you. Honestly, their best bet might be to go for a double Protect, but I'm just trying to play around Nasty Plot, so Sucker Punch, Flare Blitz, and even if you get the double Protect, you knock out Gambit, it's fine. They do get the double. But I get the free switching into Gliscor now. Gambit is paralyzed as well, so that could have been a fake out turn, but, you know, like 2/3 of the time we just win the game off Flare Blitz, so I'm still fine with how this is played out. We're gonna Rock Slide, 139 down to 61, so another one will knock us out, but I just don't think Golden Go, Make It Rain, or Shadow Ball KOs us still. More sand damage. Actually, no, I think Make It Rain or Shadow Ball does KO, now that I look at the damage output. But I can bring out Gliscor. And I think the play here is... I don't think Dual Wingbeat actually KOs them, which is kind of scary, so I'm actually going to have to click Earthquake. And I'm going to switch in Alolan Ninetales. The logic behind this is I will be able to bring Incin back out for Intimidate. This is just a little bit scary because I'm going to obviously be Earthquaking myself and eating up Rock Slide, but with the defense, Snow buff, and then being Intimidated, I think it should be okay. Yeah, so here's EQ. Yeah, Ninetales takes that really well. So as long as Ninetales survives this turn, we should win the game. Oh, and they go for knockoff. Even better. Cool. I was worried about the Rock Slide coming out there this turn. We can do the damage cut, because I am curious if Ninetales, like, faints there. The expectation was to survive, but now I can go for the... I want to switch into Incin. Switch into Incin. And Blizzard. Seems fine. I can also Aurora Veil, which is cool. A lot of options right now. I do think getting another Intimidate off here is good. But I think Blizzard is just fine. No need to Roar Veil. Gliscor was awesome for us in this game, though. Like, being able to get that double knockout and force Flying Tera was huge. It was just kind of scary because I felt like I had such a big lead, and, like, this turn, if I crit myself, or if Rock Slide crits, like, Ninetales might actually faint. Oh, single target Blizzard just does so much there. Nice. Gonna get Rock Slide off. 81 down to 31. So it would have been close as to whether or not they would have gotten the KO there. It's kind of scary. But now I can bring out Gliscor. It makes sense, though, from then to click knockoff, because with Rock Slide, it's like you're not really doing any damage to Gliscor, and Gliscor is obviously a pretty huge threat. So now we can just Dual Wingbeat and go for Blizzard. So yeah, I do think the Earthquake play is, it's like a little bit risky, right? Because if Ninetales faints there, yes, I knock out Golden Go, but then Incin comes out, and then I just KO myself. And obviously, I'm just going to lose with the Choice Earthquake into Tyranitar. So this is where if we had like a single target attack that was super effective in a Golden Go, would have been really nice. I guess the other approach could have been just Earthquake there, sacrifice Incin to get the free switch and into Ninetales. Especially since they end up clicking knockoff, then it would have given me more optionality, but I was always expecting Rock Slide there. I actually think that may have been the stronger play now that I think about it, especially seeing how much damage Ninetales did to Tyranitar. Like, Blizzard single target was doing like 60-70%, and so I actually think that was the safer way to play this endgame. Like, just go for Earthquake, sacrifice Instant, bring out Ninetales. If you go for Rock Slide, like, I just don't damage Ninetales, right? Because Ninetales in the end did take a lot from the Earthquake there. And then, like, I was thinking I would definitely survive Earthquake plus Rock Slide, but it looks like it may have been a roll, and I think that's really scary. And it would have been maybe a little bit too close for comfort. So, since my own Earthquake into Ninetales is not a 2-hit knockout, and Ninetales is faster than Tyranitar, and Tyranitar is likely Assault Vested, although, I don't know, Blizzard did so much damage, I was like, is it really AV Tyranitar? But point is, with all of that, I think it was better. It would have been still better for me to just sacrifice Incin in that spot. But yeah. Okay, we've got T-Tar, Exca, Weezing, Dozo, Tatsu, Sneasler. Weezing reminds me of the Reg G teams. Gliscor on paper looks really good here. But what else do I want to bring? Into Dozo, it should be Incin, Ninetales, Vivian Gliscor, but you could flex our Chaladon here. We are Ghost Tera with it. I'm leaning towards Vivian Gliscor. Incin Ninetales. Yeah, I think Dozo is tricky because you have to play smart around it, and the problem here is they have a lot of other really powerful Pokemon, right? One thing to think about is if Weezing comes out, Vivian's attacks just become a lot less consistent, so I have to be careful about it. It's going to be Weezing Sneasler. Okay, interesting. Whoa, it's Misty Surge. That's so cool. Wow. Okay. Well, I think that's going to be a problem for us, to be honest. So our abilities at least are online. I've got Tailwind, Hurricane. I'm leaning towards protecting here on turn 1. But I think they have good reason to fake out into Gliscor, so I think I might actually Tailwind here and Earthquake. Okay, Weezing protects. That's fine. They just Dire Claw into Vivian. Sure. Okay. We get Poison, which is a little bit less than ideal. Could have been Dual Wingbeat here to just immediately get rid of Sneasler, because now Burden activates, which is also a problem. Oh, you're not sashed. Okay. Huh, if that's not sashed, I wonder what the sash is, but I get Tailwind up, which is big. And I guess, honestly, because they had Misty Terrain here, Vivian fainting is actually not too bad, because it gives me a free switch in. For example, they could go out right into Dondozo, but then I can bring out Incin and just get an immediate Intimidate. Could also bring out Ninetales and go for Aurora Veil. Right now, I think Dozo probably comes out. I actually like Ninetales, and the logic for this is because with Ninetales, I can Earthquake myself, whereas with the Incin, I can't. So I think what I want to do here is Aurora Veil, Ice Tera, Earthquake. It also just could be Aurora Veil, then switch into Incin. I just think there's a world where they protect Dondozo right now and attack with Weezing. The Tatsu switch in is really obvious, though. Okay, you know what? I think I'll Aurora Veil switch into Incin. But if I was going to do this, I think it probably would have been better to just bring out Incin so I had Fake Out. Although I guess I would have hard switched Gliscor. So with this, I do get Aurora Veil up immediately, which is nice. Yep, okay, Weezing Pivot's nice. So I'm glad I didn't just Earthquake myself there. This is where if we had Encore with Ninetales, it'd be so sweet because we can just lock it into an attack. And imagine like locking it into Wave Crash. My question is what Tera it is. Okay. I'm guessing Tera's Steel, especially if you have Misty Surge. Because with Tera's Steel, you're able to not worry about Clear Smog. Ooh, that's really bad. I should have Tera'd Ninetales. Yeah, I was just talking about Tera Steel, but I didn't contemplate Heavy Slam, and I think Ninetales with Freeze Dry is important in this one. I'm actually not sure I can beat Dozo from here on out. It's a really good play by them. I'm going to Fake Out Dual Wingbeat here, but the problem is I just don't think I have enough damage from this point onwards. Yeah, I should have Tera'd there. I was thinking about Terraing Gliscor, because Tera Ice, Aurora Veil, you're intimidated, you're not doing that much damage to me. It's still winnable for sure, but I think that was a turn I should have contemplated Tera a little bit more, especially since Heavy Slam is so common on Dondozo. Yeah, we're just doing such little damage right now with the boosts, but each time I click Dual Wingbeat, there is a chance to crit. It's Covert Cloak too! Very cool. Very cool. Oh, I guess I should have Tera'd that turn specifically around the possibility of Covert Cloak. Man. Man. If I Tera there, I survive. You take a good bit of recoil. It's one more turn to Tailwind, so then Tailwind stalls out. Like, I honestly think it was winnable, but not Terraing either Pokemon. Like, I think the Ninetales Tera was the big one. I really should have Tera'd there because Ninetales Freeze Dry is such a big win condition into Dondozo. And so I just, yeah, didn't contemplate Heavy Slam specifically there when it is kind of very standard on Dondozos right now. So that turn should have been a Tera. The Covert Cloak, like, that's a really cool surprise. I think the game was already really behind at that point, but since Ninetales is such an important part of the equation in that matchup, it should have just been a Tera that turn. So, yeah. We get Aurora Veil up, we intimidate Dondozo, but it doesn't matter. It still one-shots us through all of it. So, yeah, nicely done by my opponent. We've got a Sneasler balance team here. This is actually quite similar to the Baxcalibur team I featured recently that reached rank number 1. If you want to see me play with that team, check out the video in the description below. But it had King Gambit, it had Dondozo, Sneasler. So let's see. Gliscor here is cool. Dual Wingbeat is super, super nice into the Vivian. Ninetales is interesting. Gambit with Flying Tera I think is really solid. I think I'm down for Gliscor Vivian as the lead. Who do I want in the back? I think all of our Pokemon are somewhat decent here. Ninetales is good into Rilladozo Dragonite, bad into the Steels. Charlatan does have Thunderbolt, which I can use into Dozo. Gambit feels good here because I can switch into their Gambit, their Golden Go, their Dragonite. And I'm thinking Instant here since their team has so many physical attackers. But honestly, all of our Pokemon are not bad here. I wonder if Ninetales plus Gliscor was ever the call, but I think Ninetales would have to worry about the Sneasler. So let's see what they lead with. Gambit plus Sneasler, interesting. So the first question I have here is whether or not you have Fake Out, but I have Sleep Powder Pressure here, which is great, and Tailwind Pressure. Fake Out into this is what I would expect. This might switch out. I personally don't mind going for Dual Wingbeat here, and Sleep Powder here. Their best play, I guess, would be switch Gambit out into Rilla, Fake Out into the Gliscor. Yeah, there's the switch. So maybe it should have been Sleep Powder or Tailwind. But that is Golden Go coming out. Okay. I mean, this is fine by me, right? Because I still outpace with Gliscor this next turn. My guess, though, is that we're going to see Rillaboom now come in for this slot. Because you obviously have to respect Earthquake. So I'm thinking about U-turning. Because these are both really good switch-ins. Like, I'm thinking here I want to go U-turn plus Hurricane into this slot. And if we snipe Rilla as it comes in, that's huge for us. But they're just going to Tera. Okay. That's also fine. Tera, Golden Go. Into Dragon. Okay. Makes sense. Dire Claw into Vivian. It's poison, that's fine. We will U-turn out. Can bring out Instant right now or the King Gambit. I like Instant more here because I don't want to give a Defiant boost to the King Gambit. So we'll knock out Sneasler. Cool. And yeah, this play covered for a Rilla switch in, but I'm now thinking maybe they don't have Rilla. We'll see. Just make it rain. Great. Okay. I don't mind that turn at all. We know there's King Gambit in the back and then a fourth Pokemon. We have Fake Out Pressure right now. Assault Vest Gambit on our end. With Low Kick, which is pretty solid. Thinking Gliscor here. But I think the end game I want to set up for is probably Flying Tera the Gambit, then go Gliscor. And yeah, there's no Rilla, it's Dozo. Okay. So Gliscor with that Earthquake right now is looking pretty strong. Gambit comes out. But I have to respect Yawn from this. Don't know what kind of Golden Ghost set this is yet. Could be double protect here. This switching out in a Gambit makes sense. I personally want a Parting Shot and Low Kick, because if this were to switch in a Gambit, it would be huge. Nice. Let's go. Okay. This is a really good turn for us. Yeah, that could not have gotten any better. We get the read completely right. Great. So now it's a free switch in into Gliscor. Dozo's not that scary in this end game. And what I can probably do is just Tera the King Gambit. And then just go for Earthquake plus Assurance. I could also switch back out into Instant first and then end the game with Gliscor. It's going to be Yawn into Gambit. Okay, fine by me. I think my main question here is what kind of Golden Go is this? I'm still not 100% sure. We could pretty easily switch Gambit out into Instant right now. I could Earthquake Flying Tera. Tera Ice here is not bad into Dozo, but it's bad into this. The switch is pretty obvious for me to make right now. Yeah, I honestly want to go for this. Earthquake, Flying Tera, Assurance. Okay, so we're going to Tera. Because I think the Dondozo is really going to struggle against King Gambit with Flying Tera in the long run. I do open myself up to a Make It Rain here this turn, but if we knock out Golden Go, I think we just win. Nice. No Protect on either. Perfect. So we get Earthquake off. Sick. Yeah, and they Nasty Plot. Very nice. And this is one of the fun things about this team, having the Gliscor plus King Gambit combo, specifically with that Assurance to pick up these surprise KOs. Wonderful. So Golden Go faints. And they're going to yawn into Gliscor. Perfect. So, yes, I fall asleep with the King Gambit, but what is Dondozo going to do, right? You're already at -1 attack. I can just switch an Instant. You're at -2 attack. You can keep clicking Yawn, sure, but eventually I'll wake up, and I can just keep cycling Intimidate. And I have 2 Pokemon that are immune to Fissure, right? Normally with these solo Dozos, you're going to want to use Fissure in the long run, but now we can switch an Instant. Just burn a turn of sleep. And yeah, my opponent recognizes I can't win the game with solo Dondozo. So I think that was a really great attempt by them, because if I had made the obvious switch into Instant and they get that Nasty Plot off, like, it's actually still kind of scary, but we pulled off the Gliscor plus King Gambit combination to get the knockout onto the Golden Go. I think my main regret is on turn 1 of this game, going for that Sleep Powder. Like, Rilla or Golden Go switching in for Gambit was fairly logical. So I missed out on an opportunity to set up Tailwind. And if I had gone for Tailwind on turn 1, then I would have been able to, like, pressure with knockouts and damage before the Vivillon faints. Like, Vivillon basically wouldn't have its Focus Sash broken, right? And having Vivillon around could be helpful, but Golden Go is a very good Vivillon counter, so good job by my opponent recognizing that and just bringing it in immediately. But yeah, we were able to bait out the Tera from Golden Go, which was absolutely huge, and then be able to find this really nice double up to just KO it. We have Dondozo Tatsu, but that's a Blaziken, a Glaceon, a Ninetales, and a King Gambit. That is really cool. Okay. So, against Dozo, the main goal ideally would be to bait out Tera. Vivillon can Tailwind, which is really essential. I don't know what kind of Tera the Dozo is, but normally it's going to be Grass or Steel, which Gliscor can really take advantage of. One thing to think about in this game is setting up Aurora Veil for Ice Tera Gliscor. They might lead with their ice types. Ninetales Glaceon. I'm a little bit wary of leading King Gambit or Instant in case King Gambit is led. Our King Gambit is very good into the Snow Duo. Quite useless into Dozo though. I'm thinking of Vivillon plus the Gliscor. Instant Ninetales in the back. The main thing is with this, a lot of my damage index is heavily on Gliscor, so I have to be careful. I thought about bringing our Chaladon into this matchup. But yeah, Dozo is interesting because we don't have like a haze to just get rid of its boosts. We don't have Encore on Ninetales, which is a really handy tool into Dondozo. But we have Freeze Dry, we have Intimidate and Fake Out, we have Tailwind and Sleep Powder. It's mainly tricky because in Best of 1, like if Dozo gets 1 turn correctly as a surprise, it can just win the game. It's going to be Blaziken Ninetales. Okay, I don't mind that too much. I think here I'm going to be able to go for Ice Tera, Tailwind, EQ. I'm curious if Dozo Tatsu is in the back. But yeah, Ice Tera here is nice both defensively, and it allows us to get the defense buff from Snow as well, which I think is pretty neat. It's not going to be super relevant this turn, I would guess, but Yep, there's going to be Detect from Blaziken. That makes sense. And they just click Blizzard. It's fine. Okay. Curious what the items are here for my opponent. Now, they obviously have the defense buff from Snow as well on the Ninetales. But this next turn, for example, I could Hurricane plus Earthquake into the Blaziken slot. Just eliminate that. Ooh, that's really good damage. I didn't think Bandit EQ would do over half. That's so good. Well done, Gliscor. Because if we... Yeah, now I can just go for Hurricane and Earthquake. So, that turn one, I think I'm as happy as could be with it. Other than, I don't know, Blaziken just not protecting for some reason. But the idea goal would be to just pick up a double knockout right now. If we get a double knockout, then I can Psycho Wind the Incineroar and start intimidating the Dondozo. Pressure it to put it to sleep with Sleep Powder. Okay, Ninetales goes for Protect here. That's fine. Gliscor gets Earthquake off. Should bring the Blaziken down to Focus Sash. Shuka Berry was that? Whoa. Okay, interesting. But Hurricane is going to connect, and we'll knock out Blaziken. So far, so good. Great start to the game. I think this is now where Dondozo can come out. And then you have the mind game of, do you protect Dozo, attack with Ninetales, or switch in Tatsu? But that is not a Dondozo. That is going to be Glaceon. Whoa, okay. That works for me. Gliscor is in great shape right now. I can Earthquake and Sleep Powder. I'm just worried about missing, especially with Snow Cloak. Instant is going to be handy to deal with Glaceon in the long run. I think here I don't mind going for Protect and Earthquake. It's guaranteed damage with Earthquake. We're going to get a Tera out from their end. Okay, let's see what Tera it is. Tera on Glaceon. Tera Ice. So just for increase in damage. Okay, that's fine by me. So Vivian will Protect here. Tera Ice Gliscor hits Earthquake once again here. Nice. Double connect. Ninetales does manage to survive. Yeah, I figured that first roll felt really high. But we just take no damage right now. Wow. It's just double Blizzard from there, and that's fine by me. Ice Tera boosted now. Glaceon should do more, but we should still survive this, right? That looks like Choice Specs to me. Okay, I'm gonna go for Sleep Powder here. Do I want to Sleep Powder, actually? I think it may... I was going to say I could switch into Instant, but I don't think that's right, because then I'd be damaging myself. This could Protect right now as they go for Blizzard. Last turn of Tailwind. I think Ninetales actually definitely should be protecting here. I'd ideally like to set up Tailwind again. So I'm thinking Sleep Powder here, and then switch into Instant, and then I can fake out Tailwind. But maybe I should have just gone Sleep Powder last turn, because then I could Hurricane Earthquake into that slot. I don't know. I just really worried about missing moves into the Glaceon. Bring Instant out. Yep, Ninetales protects. Now I can snipe that off with Fake Out next turn, which is great. Oh, it's a double Protect. Okay, perfect. So it's not Choice Specs. Ice Tera Glaceon really is just that powerful. Wow. But it also makes sense because their Ninetales might be just not as strong. But this is huge. Tailwind peters out, but I have that Fake Out to finish this off. And Ninetales sometimes is Covert Cloak, but it's still fine. And we can set up Tailwind again, which is huge. One of the things to also think about is I obviously have my Ninetales in the back, but it's not a very strong Pokemon for me right now. I don't get too much value out of it, and I ideally want the snow to be gone so that Glaceon is a lot easier to deal with. But here, yeah, it's important to stagger the speed control because the Ninetales would have been able to just finish me off, right? But they are going to make a great play here of switching out, okay? And it's going to be King Gambit. So I think we're very well positioned with the Incineroar right now to just Flare Blitz everything. We got Fake Out and Tailwind here. Yep, they just go for another Blizzard. No more Snow now, which is good. Cool. I can bring out Gliscor, but if I bring out Gliscor, I think you'll probably be baited to Sucker Punch. Snow stops. I don't want to bring out my own Ninetales right now, I think. Actually, since they tear it, I think bringing out Ninetales is probably okay. And then we can just Blizzard Flare Blitz right now. I could also Aurora Veil here. But I ideally want to just get a KO. I don't hate Aurora Veil. Aurora Veil and Flare Blitz and a King Gambit. I was mainly thinking Blizzard plus Flare Blitz to knock out King Gambit because I expect King Gambit to survive the turn, but I do think the defense is important right now. Okay, King Gambit goes for Protect. So we'll set up Aurora Veil. So that's good because they totally could have just attacked this turn. Now I can Blizzard Flare Blitz next turn. To be very careful though because the Snow is obviously boosting Glaceon once again here. I think that turn I could have just attacked with the Incin, but yeah, we take no damage from Glaceon now, which is good. 2 turns of Tailwind though, so here I can go Blizzard plus Flare Blitz. And then one of the questions I have is the Ninetales speed interaction, but I think the reality is Glaceon should not be able to do too much damage to us right now. I'm mainly worried that Gambit survives Blizzard and Flare Blitz, and I think it might. Oh, interesting. They sacrifice the... Wait, but now Blizzard just knocks out your Ninetales, right? So then Flare Blitz goes into Glaceon. I'll take that. The logic behind that play for my opponent is they want to conserve the Sucker Punch from King Gambit into Gliscor to just finish it off, which I think makes total sense. Okay, Flare Blitz doesn't miss. Nice. Double KO. Cool. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised my opponent went for that. I think the better play would have been to like sacrifice Gambit, bring out Ninetales, and then Protect. But I think they may have been thinking, well, my only real answer to win this game and deal actual damage is King Gambit. But yeah, in this game, them not bringing Dozo was helpful, for sure. Gliscor put on a ton of early offensive pressure, doing so much damage. It was a shame that we did so much to Ninetales and then failed to get the KO, but it's fine. In the end, it was still enough. So we can just Blizzard now and Flare Blitz. So they can Protect here, but it's fine. Yeah. King Gambit just can't pull off the 3v1 here. It's not got a lot of offense into Incin, especially if you're going to be the Protect. Like normally with Protected Swords, Dance, Double Dark type attack. And so you don't have something like a low kick to threaten us. Plus we outpace you anyway most of the time. So yeah. We've got Grimmsnarl, Como, Rillaboom, Hisuian, Arcanine, Pelipper, Golden Go. Interesting team here. I'm curious what ability the Como is. It's interesting to see Pelipper by itself. No Archaludon, no Basket Legion. Flying King Gambit here is really intriguing to me with our coverage. Like, I think Gliscor King Gambit's definitely a possible lead. I'm mainly thinking about this because, like, Iron Head would be really nice. I don't think we need Incin here. Ninetales could be valuable. But I like Vivillon and Archaludon a bunch as well. Gliscor Gambit lead. What am I worried about? Rilla Como maybe? Okay, maybe I want Gambit in the back. Vivian Gliscor, which I think is a really good lead for this team. And then our Chaladon. I might actually drop Gambit. I was thinking about it earlier, but I think Ninetales is nice here. And part of the reason for that is because it gives me Fairy into Como. Como can be pretty annoying. I don't know if this is like the Iron Defense Body Press set or if it's the Clangering Scales Clangorous Soul set, but I want to respect both of them. And against the Clangorous Soul set with Clanging Scales, Ninetales is just immune to the Dragon type attacks, right? It's gonna be Grim Golden Go, okay? I think this is a great lead for Gliscor Vivian. Obviously pressure with the Banded Earthquake immediately. I think here I'm just going to go Earthquake and Hurricane, try to get rid of Grimmsnarl. It's Fake Out. Are you Scarf Golden Go? You're not, so I get Choice Band Earthquake off. They don't respect the Gliscor here. Oh my goodness. I'm actually shocked they went for... Well, first of all, Fake Out on Grimmsnarl, not the most common move, right? But it's really valuable for Grimmsnarls in best of one. But I'm shocked that they didn't Terra Golden Go and that they went for Fake Out onto Vivian. Because it's not like I can do much with Vivian onto Gliscor anyway. But I'll take it. Pelipper comes out. Gliscor should switch out here. We want to be dual wing beating with this. Ninetales is a pretty good switch in, I would say. I'm personally down to bring out Ninetales here. And go for Sleep Powder onto Pelly. Grimmsnarl Pelly's not a very offensive duel right now. I'm shocked Gliscor got that knockout, but I think people just don't really respect it, nor do they, like, know too much about its offensive potential. Yeah, they go for T-Wave onto us. I wonder if this is offensive, like Pelipper with... they just go for Hurricane. Okay, that makes sense. That's fine with me. Like, I change the weather, get a free switch in. Now I can bring out the Gliscor again. I also could just bring out our Chowdon right now because of Electro Shot, which I don't hate. But if I bring out Gliscor, what is my opponent going to do? This beats Pelipper really hard in the end game. Pelly probably wants to switch right now. So I think I'm down to bring out the Gliscor first. Because Dual Wingbeat right now is looking very strong. I think one of the questions here is, do I want to Aurora Veil? They can't Thunder Wave Gliscor, which is really big. Dual Wingbeat covers for Rilla as well as Como switching into this slot. Part of me wants to just get the knockout onto this, though. So I'm thinking here we can Aurora Veil, Dual Wingbeat into Grim. Okay, just go for Thunder Wave onto Ninetales. I guess what's interesting here is if you have Weather Ball, you will be able to Weather Ball and KO the Gliscor. We miss Dual Wingbeat. And I get Parad. Okay, it's just a Tailwind, though. Could be worse. We're not out of it yet. I might Ice Tera this, though, because I am actually really worried about Weather Ball. Aurora Veil, Ice Tera, Dual Wingbeat. With them going for Tailwind there, I think we would have been in such good shape if they had just, yeah, if we get Dual Wingbeat off, we KO Grimmsnarl, and then we would also set up Aurora Veil, so then Gliscor's in such a good spot, and then by knocking out Grimmsnarl, they can't change the weather either, which is really good. So Pelipper is kind of lacking. Yeah, they go for Weather Ball now. Cool. Well, fortunately, they didn't go for it last turn, so I'll take advantage of that. It's not too much damage. And we get Dual Wingbeat off. Cool. Ooh, Grim hangs on with the Sliver. Okay. It's kind of annoying, but it's fine. We will set up the Aurora Veil. What is Grim going for? Spirit Break. Okay. Why is Grimmsnarl so slow? They have Tailwind up and I'm paralyzed. Huh. Is it like Trick Iron Ball? the only explanation I can really think of here. I'm a Blizzard now. Dual Wingbeat into Pelly. They probably Thunder Wave into Gliscor now. It is Trick. Okay, yeah. I was like, that just... I can't really think of any other explanation. But it's fine, right? Like, you're going to give me the... Okay, Lagging Tail. Yeah, that makes sense. Enjoy the Covert Cloak. They're going to Hurricane onto us, but we have Aurora Veil up. Yeah, Gliscor's taking no damage right now. We get Banded Dual Wingbeat now into the Pelly. Another paralysis, but it's fine because it's like my opponent isn't really putting on that much offensive pressure, right? The main thing here is they still have Tera available, but we want to just angle for a double knockout this next turn. I have Freeze Dry, which I could use into Pelly, but Pelly could Tera. I think I'm still happy just going for Blizzard here and Dual Wingbeat. Okay, it's just another Hurricane onto Gliscor. Dual Wingbeat eliminates the Pelly. Although here I could have gone on a Grimmsnarl since we were still faster despite them having Tailwind, and then... Because they'll probably Spirit Break into Gliscor, right? No, they target Ninetales. Okay, cool. We take, like, no damage with the Snow and the Aurora Veil. Okay, so it's 3v1 now, but my opponent does get in their final Pokemon. This is a crazy Grimmsnarl set, for sure. Trick Lagging Tail, something we saw in Sword and Shield with Dynamax. Excuse me. And is that our Chaladon? Sorry, Como. Okay, I mean, Gliscor's great into this. 2 turns of Aurora Veil left. It's probably Terra's, though, is my guess. I want to Freeze Dry here and then switch out into our Chaladon to reset Gliscor's attack. Because I don't want to be locked into Dual Wingbeat when I think you're going to Terra this turn. Could be Terra Fire, Terra Steel. Yep, here it is. Okay. Como is going to be Terra Steel. Great. Well, now it's a waiting room for Gliscor to come out and just click Earthquake again. Ah, they've got Vacuum Wave. And it's Life Orb Vacuum Wave, which actually does a ton of damage, but not enough to get the knockout here. Life Orb Vacuum Wave is fascinating. Talk about all the techs. Last turn of Aurora Veil. So what I want to do here is... It's scary because once Aurora Veil runs out, Ninetales is kind of useless into them. I'm going to switch in Gliscor here and go for Electro Shot into them. Because this or our Chaladon can survive the turn. But Vacuum Wave is a really cool tech. Without it, Gliscor should just like win the game because it would outspeed Como and then be able to Earthquake. But they're not going to protect here. No Vacuum Wave. We're going to get the Electro Shot off, which is huge. Because this isn't going to KO, I think, but it'll do a ton of damage. And then they're going to take 2 more ticks of Life Orb, essentially, right? From picking up 2 knockouts. So you're going to take a lot of Life Orb damage. Yeah, you just faint from Life Orb now. Perfect. And it's going to be Aura Sphere. Great. So our Chaladon faints, but we are good. It's kind of, yeah, an interesting mid-game. Like, we had a huge lead by just knocking out the Golden Goal on turn 1, obviously. So I was like, I feel like we shouldn't lose this game. I never went for Freeze Dry in a Pelipper because I kept expecting it to switch out. But I guess in retrospect, there weren't that many great Freeze Dry switch-ins, right? You could have Como, you could have Rillaboom. And so maybe launching a Freeze Dry into that slot would have been good. I think Dual Wingbeating into the Grimmsnarl would have been better as well. The turn that they went Spirit Break onto Ninetales, it could have been a Spirit Break onto the Gliscor. I guess even though if Gliscor does go down there, it's still Ninetales plus our Chaladon in the end game. You have the... And I have the Electro Shot. But if they protect on the Electro Shot, then they can... Then I have the Thunderbolt basically afterwards. So yeah, would have made for an interesting end game. But Gliscor was awesome in that one. It was able to just one-shot the Golden Goal and do so much damage with Dual Wingbeat into Grimmsnarl and Pelly. We've got Sylveon, Sneasler, Dragapult, Volk, Rillaboom, and Sableye. Sableye, a really cool pick here. Dual Wingbeat from Gliscor looks sick. Vivian, like flying in general, looks really good here. There's a part of me that thinks I should lead Incineroar though for Fake Out. and Intimidate into Sneasler. So Instinct, Gliscor, Vivian. Ghost Tera Arch isn't bad here, I think. Flying Gambit, though, also seems really solid. There's nothing that hits it for super effective. Okay, kind of down for that. I like briefly thought about Ninetales here, and then Ice Teraing Gliscor, but I don't think that's worth it. Sableye is the big question mark. You can run Disable Encore, you can run Screens like Clay. It's going to be Sableye and Volk, okay. I'm worried here because I think there's a decent chance they Will-O-Wisp my Gliscor and they have Covert Cloak and block Fake Out. This could also have Fake Out as well. Covert is just so common on Volks that I think I'd defer towards Parting Shot. Dual Wingbeat. Okay, it's just Reflect. I'll take that. And just Heat Wave, okay. Oh. Ouch. Okay, that was a little less than ideal. Volk looks to be offensive here, so Fake Out may have been more effective there. Well, Parting Shot, get a free switch in, but it is the Screens Sableye, and I think Screens is really tough for us. Burning Gliscor obviously is less than ideal as well. We're pretty vulnerable to Fire-type damage. Let's go around Vivian here. Burn comes out. I think now I'm going to protect, switch in Ensign. And I really don't think you're Covert Cloak Volk, so then I can just Fake Out plus Sleep Powder. What we want to do in this game is the classic strat of Sableye absorbs like a lot of momentum, and they're not able to do very much with it after setting up screens. I say that, but they might have Encore, and if I just protect it in front of Encore, it's not great. Sunny Day Sableye, yeah, that makes sense. Heat Wave just comes out. If I just went Fake Out Dual Wingbeat on turn 1, and if we don't get burnt, we actually probably just knock out Volk, because Fake Out gives us the chiplet we need, but it's fine. I'm going to Sleep Powder now into you. Actually, you know what I want to do? I don't want to knock out Volk. I want to Fake Out and Sleep Powder it. Okay. So the reason I'm going for this is because I don't want to give them a free switch in. And now I have Flare Blitz in the sun, and I have Tailwind, which is really good. So what do I want to do now? Probably going to be Light Clay on this. Sleep Powder into... I should Tailwind here, I think. KO Volk. Okay, they stay in. We set up Tailwind. Sableye is going for an attack here, so I wonder if it's just like foul play. Volk feints. Is it Specs? Scarf Volk. Oh, cool. Foul play here. So you've seen the full moveset. Foul play, dual screens, plus Sunny Day, right? So at this point, Sableye only can really click foul play. And what I'm basically trying to do is keep it out on the field and make you feel kind of useless, right? So Sneasler comes out. My guess is that it's Grassy Seed Sneasler, and they switch Sableye right now into Sneasler. Sorry, into Rillaboom. If it switches into Rilla, what do I want to do? I think it's Tera Vivian here. Tera Vivian is vulnerable to them just foul playing me again, though. Tera, Sleep Powder, Flare Blitz. Oh, they stay in. Okay. Does a foul play just KO me, though? I'm hoping they click Fake Out if they're going for this, but I'm really surprised they didn't switch. It's a good decision by them. Okay, they let me Sleep Powder them. I'll take it then, I guess. But now we're at mercy of sleep, which is always scary. Burn through the first turn here. Some boosted Flare Blitz into Sableye. It's a lot of damage. Oh, they did just foul play, yeah. It is a KO. That was... Like, I don't regret the Tera, but it feels bad since, like, a Rilla switch in there felt really telegraphed. And if they switch in Rilla, and we Flare Blitz, KO Rilla, and manage to disrupt the Sneasler, we're in really good shape. So I don't regret that play, but it doesn't work out for us. And now I'm down Tera, which is not ideal. I can bring out Gliscor now. With this, I think I'm going to Dual Wingbeat and Flare Blitz into you. Yeah, I'm just, okay, they set up Reflect again. That's fine. Does help them survive here, though. Let's see if they wake up. This is the big question. Ah, they do. Okay, now they get to close combat us. Yeah. If they had stayed asleep there, we just knock out the Sneasler. They're down to their final Pokemon, so the odds were pretty good for us there, but it is what it is. I think the main play that I'll feel bad about was going for that Ghost Tera, but I don't really regret it since I think, oh, they're Life Orb as well. Interesting. So there was, it's not even Grassy Seed. Sunlight fades. Get Gambit out. It's still winnable. Because Gambit could beat Rilla or Sylveon. I mean, if Sylveon's their last one, then it's definitely winnable. I still have one turn of Tailwind left. This protecting feels obvious. So I'm going to double up on a Sableye. Okay, they switch. That's also fine. What's the last one? It's Sylveon. Okay, it's doable. Potentially. Wingbeat. Now we get the damage increase from Assurance. It's the fact that we were able to set up a second Reflect, though. I thought they were going to be Light Clay, so I was like, you know what? I don't want to prioritize knocking out, but it wasn't actually Light Clay Sableye. Tailwind Peter's out. No more Light Screen. The problem is I can't protect with King Gambit. So the question is, do we think Sucker Punch just KOs this? Because Reflect is up. My honest guess is no. But I think I gotta go for it. Tera comes out, okay. Tera Sylveon, I guess, into a defensive Tera. That makes sense. Oh, Tera Ground. Okay, so they're probably gonna try to Tera Blast us? They do Fake Out, though, and we are Assault Vested. So hold on. Are you Hyper Voicing here? Yeah, it does maybe a little too much. If I had knocked out the Sneasler there, I would have had Dual Wingbeat into Assurance, into Sucker Punch, but with Reflect up, I don't know, it's just such little damage onto this, it's probably still not enough. And now you probably have Tera Blast into us. Yeah. Cool plays. Very cool plays. I think in this game, the key turn is the Vivillon turn. Like, I Terra'd it and got no mileage out of it, and I think I tunneled a little bit too hard on them switching to Rillaboom. That looks like Specs to me as well. But I don't even think Crit Sucker does it here, unfortunately. It's decent damage. Yeah, I really wonder if I launched Dual Wingbeat into Sneasler instead, got that KO. Oh, sorry, because they went Hyper Voice instead of Terra Blast, it wouldn't have mattered. Yeah, King Gambit's not going to win the endgame against Sylveon, so that was a really cool set. Scarf Volcarona, probably Spec Sylveon, Ground Terra, or Pixie Plate Sylveon. I don't know what the item on Sableye was ultimately, but yeah, the Ghost Terra, like, I just really thought Sableye had to switch out there, because I was like, oh, you're doing such little damage here, I would think you'd want to activate Unburden on the Sneasler, but it turns out it's not even Unburden, it's Poison Touch, right? So I think should have accounted for more possibilities that turn, and we had already seen Foul Play, so it's kind of risky to have gone for that. The Terra also helped me get around a potential Fake Out. Like, I was actually surprised we just didn't see Fake Out that turn, since they had it as well, but they probably didn't want to reveal that they were Life Orb quite yet. So I think this is a game where we definitely had the tools, but went up against a lot of unconventional things. Like, Sableye's not very popular, Scarf Volcarona, really cool pick, Sylveon, not super popular, and of course the Life Orb Sneasler. And then also, if they had just taken more than one turn of sleep on the Sneasler, we would have gotten the KO with the Flare Blitz, and then it would have been a 3v1, where we have the Gliscor, the Incin, and the King Gambit. The question is whether or not that's enough to deal with the Ground Terra Sylveon, because Sylveon might still be able to just win that game for my opponent, but yeah. We've got Torkoal, Ursaluna, Incineroar, Porygon, Rillaboom, and Indeedee here. So it's funny because Torkoal, Porygon, Incin, Ursaluna just won the Latin American International Championships, but that team had Charizard and Jumpluff. I think Porygon is a pretty annoying Pokemon for this team to deal with because we can't really burst it for damage. Against Ursaluna, I think like Incin, Flying Gambit's valuable. Our Chaladon's not great here. Gliscor does do a lot of damage. We can Dual Wingbeat into Indeedee and Rillaboom. Earthquake as well. Could be Vivillon for Sleep Powder, honestly. Unfortunately, Gliscor plus King Gambit, even if I double up with like Dual Wingbeat and the Assurance, is not going to get a KO. I'm also thinking Ninetales though, mainly for Aurora Veil. Yeah, this is a pretty tricky matchup, I think. Vivillon, Gliscor, Gambit, Incin. I think, yeah, I just don't love leading Alolan Ninetales, and they can switch in Torkoal to change the weather. I think our Chaladon is not super valuable since, like, Electro Shot and Dragon Pulse aren't really valuable. Like, we can Electro Shot into Porygon, but then it can heal it back up. Most of their Pokemon can tank Electro Shot. Ursaluna can switch into it as well. So, yeah. It's gonna be Rilla Incin, though. Okay, dual Fake Out. Would have been pretty sweet to have led King Gambit into this. I mean, turn 1, they can just click Fake Out. I wonder if Incin wants to consider Flare Blitz or Parting Shot. They could, like, double up on a Gliscor right now. I could switch in my own Incin, which isn't bad. Yeah, I'm gonna switch in Incin here, and then go for Dual Wingbeat onto Rilla. Worst play for me to go up against is probably Fake Out from Incin, Woodhammer onto Gliscor. They could also like Fake Out Knockoff. Depends on if Incin is Grass Terror or Safety Goggles. Yeah, because okay, they are gonna Fake Out into Incin. Sweet. Nice, and we just get the super effective Dual Wingbeat off. We actually get a crit on the first one. I'm not sure if we needed the crit to get a knockout there, but yeah, the damage output of Gliscor here is just huge for us on turn 1 as we immediately pick up a KO. That's amazing. Okay. Well, that's as good of a turn 1 as I could have asked for. The grassy terrain recovers our Incin first, so likely faster. Let's see what they bring out. Their Incineroar's in an interesting spot right now because let's say you pivot out. If I bring out Gambit and then Incin comes back in eventually, we can get a boost, which is really nice. We're going to bring out the Porygon here. Gets a special attack boost. So I think Trick Room is still scary because we should assume their last one's Ursaluna. So I think here I'm going to go Fake Out in a Porygon. And then the goal is to deny them Trick Room. So then I can switch in Vivian and then put the Porygon to sleep. With Sleep Powder. Yeah. Porygon is honestly a very hard Pokemon to go up against, I think, with this team because it threatens Gliscor offensively. We don't have a ton of bulk across the board. So the idea here is we want to put it to sleep, remove its Eviolite, and then start launching attacks off into it. So they're going to Parting Shot into the Instant slot. Probably Ursaluna coming out now. Let's see. With Ursaluna out, it'll be interesting because it's the debate of do I want to switch out my Incineroar into the King Gambit immediately? They probably are going to want to Headlong Rush into us. And I think Porygon Ursaluna as a duo is really tough if Trick Room gets set up because I don't have too many Protects. So the game plan here is to just ideally deny them the Trick Room. So that's why I switched in Vivian here. This turn, I could switch Incin out into the Gliscor. But I'm leaning towards the option of letting them KO me, but getting a knockoff onto Porygon. I could also Parting Shot into Ursaluna, Sleep Powder into Porygon. I think that's the other option here. It's not a bad option, honestly. Actually, yeah, I don't hate it. It's just, they could protect Ursaluna here, so we'll see. But Parting Shot, Sleep Powder. Oh! Okay. If they're going for that switch, I'm guessing it's Safety Goggles on the Incineroar. I think that would make a lot of sense. So, nice play by them. But it means Trick Room doesn't get set up at least, which I'll take. Yep, it is Goggles. Okay. But we get Parting Shot off, which is huge. We can switch into Gliscor or the King Gambit. I think Gliscor is probably better in case they go for Headlong Rush onto the Incin slot. But the Fake Out pressure from Incin right now is pretty annoying. I assume they'll probably want to Facade into the Vivian slot. Ooh, nice. Facade into the Incin. Gliscor does survive the turn, but we take a lot. Good play by them. You obviously have Fake Out pressure right now. Could switch Incin back in. Love to get King Gambit out, especially if we think they're going to Parting Shot something. Switching King Gambit onto a Parting Shot would be huge. You could obviously just Tera right now. I mean, you could Fake Out right now. Who do I want to Tera in this game? I think it should be Flying Tera Gambit, personally. I could Tera Ghost this turn just to get Hurricane off, but I'm not sure that's worth it. I'll switch back out into Incin and Protect here. If Incin switches out, like, we really want to get Gambit out at some point, right? Because they're going to keep trying to cycle in Incineroar. Having the Safety Goggles is really big for them, so it's nicely done. Vivian protects. See if they Parting Shot here. Okay, great. Fake Out into Vivian. Facade into the Instant slot. Okay. The Rocky Helmet damage is definitely helpful. Now we're in an interesting spot. I have Fake Out pressure this turn. You would think Ursaluna wants to switch out right now, right? As Incineroar Parting Shots or Flare Blitzes. Ursa could protect this turn as well. But I'm thinking about going for Knockoff and Sleep Powder here, because if we get the switch, it's huge. Okay, they just offer Protect instead. It's fine. Because now you can Parting Shot or Flare Blitz, but then your Ursaluna slot is still stuck on the field at -2 next turn, and I put on a lot of pressure into it. But yeah, it's kind of an awkward game to dance through right now. Parting Shot into Vivian. Okay. I think the next turn is the most interesting turn, because you would think Ursaluna now wants to pivot out into the Incineroar. I really would like to get King Gambit out sooner than later. And we're also like looking to stall out grassy terrain, which is valuable. So this is a big turn because you could switch out either Pokemon right now into the Incineroar. So it's a big question of who do you switch. I probably would actually go Porygon back out into Incin right now. Personally. Terrain finally disappears, so Earthquake now is going to be a lot stronger for us. Yeah, so I could Sleep Powder here, switch this out into King Gambit. And I'm down for that. The only risk here is if they Headlong Rush into Incin. But I think I could see Ursaluna switching out this turn. And we finally reveal Gambit, so I'm looking to get that Defiant boost. It's been a big matchup positioning, though. It's been interesting. Okay, yep, Porygon is the one that switches out. So good switch by them once again, but we finally have gotten Gambit out on the field, so take advantage of the Defiance, which is huge. And if it's just a Facade into King Gambit, it's not bad here for us. Okay. My guess is they Facade into Vivian. Let's see. Cool. Facade into Gambit. Perfect. Okay, great. Now is where we need to pick up a little bit of pressure and pick up the pace a little bit. So Gambit right now is obviously vulnerable to Fake Out plus Headlong Rush, but I have Flying Tera. So I'm thinking I switch Gliscor back in and Flying Tera right now. I could also switch Incin right now for another Intimidate. Ursa really should feel pressure to switch now sooner than later, but I think this turn you have a safe double up on a King Gambit. I think I'm down to Tera here and go for Low Kick into Incineroar and actually just stay in Hurricane into Ursaluna. Okay, they switch out. Porygon comes out. Yep. That would have been a sick turn to just go for Sleep Powder. Like, I haven't been able to get the switches correctly so far in this game. My opponent's done a really good job. For example, if I Sleep Powder, Porygon adds its switches in, I think it puts us in such a commanding position because then it's really hard for them to deal King Gambit. But they're going to Fake Out into the Vivian, so I will get a Low Kick off into Incin, which is huge. Nice. Almost just gets the one-hit knockout. Okay. Well, now I have a free Sleep Powder into Porygon. So they could switch that back out into Ursaluna. But I could Sleep Powder and Low Kick this slot. Because Ursa's their primary carry damage-wise. I think my main fear here... Okay, they're going to just Tera. I wonder if it's Tera Ghost Incin. That'd be insane. But yeah, it's Tera Porygon into Flying maybe? Or sorry, Fighting? Yeah. The good thing here is if I connect on this Sleep, Dual Wingbeat now is super effective against you, right? Nice. Okay, Sleep Powder connects. That's huge. Excellent. They go for knockoff onto us. That's fine. We get Low Kick. And they stay asleep. Okay, cool. This turn is interesting because I think they probably angle to set up Trick Room right now. I think I want to just go for... They could wake up in one turn, which is I think what scares me the most right now. I think I'm down to Iron Head into Porygon and Hurricane into it. Okay, we don't miss, which is huge. Hurricane now super effective into the Porygon. Really good damage there. And we get the Confusion. Okay, nice. So they'll have to get an early Wake Up and attack through Confusion and Flinch, which adds up a ton. Vivian now faints, but if Porygon stays asleep this turn, I think we just win the game, because then I get Gliscor out and I can just go Earthquake Assurance, double KO. So it's been a very long, patient game, but Gliscor was huge in getting that early knockout into Rillaboom and setting us up for this endgame. So here's Ironhead now. Oh, it just knocks out Porygon. Sweet. Okay, I wasn't sure Porygon was going to survive that. It was really important, though, to conserve Vivian and make sure they couldn't set up Trick Room in this game. And so I think this was a fascinating game on an example of positioning. Now we can just bring out Gliscor. And then end the game with the double up. Cool. And we don't want to risk missing any moves here. So we can just go for Earthquake into Assurance. Yeah, I think ultimately what was huge for us in this battle was the fact that, first of all, we started with a quick knockout, and Porygon 2 was never able to just like safely set up Trick Room, right? So here's Earthquake into the Ursaluna. Gets a crit, does so much damage there, and Assurance will finish things off. Sweet. Gliscor was really fun in this one, just to be able to get that quick knockout onto Rillaboom and stop their fake out cycling, because I think their team very much was like, I have two things I can fake out. I can use it to help set up Trick Room with the Porygon and then sweep with Ursaluna, but since we were able to deny Trick Room, it was huge, and they did a really good job in the mid game, like making these constant switches and making me play a lot of guessing games. I was trying to predict Porygon coming out and never really did, but critically, the turn I went Fighting Tera, we were able to just put it to sleep immediately, and Instant had taken so much damage, we had finally positioned Gambit in as well. And the idea is I wanted to try to get Gambit in a safe spot, but the turn I switched in Gambit could have been scary if they actually just went for like Headlong Rush there. But they, I think, one, had shown they were willing to Facade the Instant slot earlier already, and they still hadn't gotten damage onto Vivian, so I thought they might want to target down that slot, but that was one long game. Okay, Annihilate, Dragonite, King Gambit, Golden Go, Dozo, Tatsu. I've been running into a ton of Dozos on ladder recently. It's interesting. Scarf Coaching is really scary from the Annihilate. Vivian can pressure with Sleep Powder here. I think Vivian's very important. Against Dozo, I normally go Vivian, Gliscor, Instant, Ninetales, so the question is whether or not I should deviate from that. Gambit is like okay into their Gambit and Golden Go, but not great otherwise, and Archaludon, if I had Sturdy, I probably would bring it, but I don't. So I am down for Vivian Ninetales lead, Gliscor Instant in the back, or just Vivian Gliscor. I think I'm still happy with Vivian Gliscor. Just puts on a lot of offensive pressure. I could potentially go for Tera Ice, Tera Blast. I think the main thing I'm worried about in this matchup is actually the Annihilate. And also it's a question of, like, does Dozo come out? What Tera is it? The dancing, or the guessing game of trying to dance around Grass Tera, Steel Tera, Safety Goggles, Leftovers. Can be kind of tough sometimes. It's going to be Dragonite Golden Go. Okay. I low-key think this might be Choice Scarf Golden Go, but they have Annihilate, so probably not, right? Because I can just Sleep Powder right now, turn 1. Sleep Powder Earthquake. Kind of down, honestly. Because I think with these Golden Goes, normally you're going to be Choice Spec Steel Tera, more offensive. So we might be able to just KO here. It is going to be Tera. So the question is it an offensive Tera or defensive Tera? Okay, on Dragonite. Huh? What? Okay. You're Scarf Golden Go if you're making this play. That makes sense. Why did they steal Tera the Dragonite though? Huh. Ah, it was Scarfed. Wow, so that's really interesting because they have Annihilate on the team, which you would think is almost always Scarfed. I'll still take it. Like, the turn could have definitely gone better, and now they have Extreme Speed Pressure into Gliscor, but I can bring out the Ensign. Yeah. I'm really surprised by the Tera on Dragonite. I guess they just wanted to, like, I don't know, resist Dual Wingbeat? Gambit comes out now, well done. But I do have Flare Blitz pressure, and I have Ninetales. Here, you would think they just go Fake Out, or sorry, Sucker Punch, Extreme Speed. Punch E-Speed. We can bring out Ninetales. I have Fake Out, but I also could just Flare Blitz right now. If Gambit's here, what's their last one? It should be Annihilate, right? Just don't know what kind of Annihilate set it would be. Which means Fairy Tera on this is not bad at all. Don't know if I want to go for E yet, but it might be worth it. Okay, Flare Blitz, Fairy Tera, switch into Ninetales. My intuition on Scarf Golden Gold was right. I could have gone Ghost Tera Vivian or Protect turn 1, which would have been very, very good for us. Because then Vivian would be... If I Ghost Tera, for example, I don't faint to that combo, and then I get a Tailwind up. So... yeah, I didn't want to go for it just out of respect out of one specific set, especially when I saw Annihilate, but it's good team building because they baited me into thinking that the Annihilate was Scarfed rather than Golden Go. Cool, Dragonite protects, I'll take that. I wonder if it's a double protect. Nope, it's not. Nice, and they low kick us. This is huge because with Rocky Helmet, I think Flare Blitz actually probably just KOs them. Nice. Okay. So presumably their last one is going to be the Annihilate. Yes, it is. Okay. I think here I can Flare Blitz into you and Aurora Veil. Yeah, I'm really fascinated by the Steel Tera turn 1. On Dragonite, because like with multi-skill you're just not really pressured that much anyway. Okay, they're gonna Extreme Speed here, but we know you're not Choice Scarf on the Annihilate, so I get my Aurora Veil up. I don't think you should be able to knock out Fairy Tera Ensign here. Yeah, you have no stacks on Rage Fist. I specifically did not want a Blizzard. That did 27 damage. And we get Flare Blitz off. Nice. Okay. I do think them, yeah, committing Tera on Dragonite just gave me a huge advantage in front of Gliscor. So, I'll gladly take it. They also could have, like, Extreme Speed make it rain onto Gliscor turn 1, and then I wouldn't have gotten an Earthquake off, so they respected Vivian a lot, but maybe a little too much. We can go for... Another Rage Fist shouldn't KO us, right? But at this point, I think it's fine to just start launching attacks into the Annihilate. Yeah, okay, they just end up forfeiting. Cool. Especially since we had Gliscor in the back, and we know it's not Scarf on Annihilate, I can just bring out Gliscor and click Dual Wingbeat to win the game. So, yeah. That game definitely did not play out how I expected it to, but we'll take it. I think the Ensign was huge for us, and, like, the Dragonite was just in this weird spot where, like, they already took so much damage from Choice Band Earthquake on turn 1. I bet my opponent probably wasn't expecting to faint with Golden Go either, so having that extra... Like, I think they just probably weren't thinking Gliscor was going to be, like, super offensive. But... yeah, I'm trying to think. The other reason that you would Steel Tera Dragonite that early on is because you're worried about, like, Ninetales in the long run, and so you want to be able to, like, switch in Dragonite afterwards, after turn 1 and just, like, turn it into Steel type. But yeah, I think, like, them committing Tera meant no defensive Tera and anything else, which I was really able to take advantage of. So, we'll take it. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for joining me. It was so fun to feature some unique Pokemon, especially in Gliscor, which I think is just so fun, and we were able to have some very awesome games with it. So thanks so much as always for watching. Thank you to Rich for building and sharing the team, and I'll see you all soon. All right, Peace.